time for a part 2 of the damage that has been done so far. Yay! So, folks, we've got a lot happening, and obviously very little time to break down all of it. So we're gonna do our best here, and by our best, I mean I'm gonna do my best to talk about this. But one thing to talk about that is good that is happening is that some people within our government actually are finding spines, which is great. So this is Ellen L. Weintraub, who, well, let's just read her post here. Received a letter from President of the United States today purporting to remove me as commissioner and chair of the FEC. There's a legal way to replace FEC commissioners. This isn't it. I've been so fortunate to serve the American people and stir up some good trouble along the way. That's not changing anytime soon. And that is dope as shit. All right? Someone having a spine, and you know what? That's exactly the kind of energy we need to bring into the next this time we're in. You know, like if you get someone saying, "Oh, resign please," or "We're removing you." Know your rights and know what they can and can't do. And if they can't summarily remove you, then you make them force you to leave. You know, you make them crank out that crowbar and get you out of there, all right? That's the kind of obstructionism we need. That's the kind of energy we need to bring to the next few years here, all right? They're expecting us to comply in advance. Yeah, when the president comes knocking on your door, you look him in the eye and you say, "Get a warrant, motherfucker." I never understood resigning in protest anyway. Well, the thing is, resigning in protest is something that would work under normal circumstances. It would put media pressure on an individual, on whoever forced you to resign. It would lead to gigantic media blowback, etc., and it would like force some level of accountability. But we're not in normal times. We need to cultivate that brat energy. You know, make brat summer, brat year. Let's go. Okay? Yeah, exactly, one shot. At this point, it's just getting people who are going to break the law to fill your spot if you resign. So tell them no. Tell them they got to fire you the right way. Get Congress to fire you, you know? We're in the cool zone, folks. The cool zone. Now, another thing to take a look at here is that ProPublica has been doing some excellent journalism, all right? And by that, I mean like actual journalism, insofar as they published this piece earlier today, or rather, they published it yesterday and then updated it earlier today. This is titled Elon Musk's Demolition Crew. And now, as you can see, this is by a large number of journalists here. But they have gone through and painstakingly identified every single member of Doge that is currently ransacking the government, as many people as possible. You've got Jacob Altick, 32, lawyer, connected to the executive office of the president. Altick is a 2021 graduate of University of Michigan Law School. He clerked for D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Naomi Rao, a Trump appointee known for critiquing the administrative state. For the last year and a half, he's worked as a corporate litigation associate at Wheel, where he co-authored a detailed legal analysis on administrative law jurisprudence at the Supreme Court. Last year, he was selected to begin a clerkship for Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch in the 2025 term, which is set to begin this summer. And so, like, it goes on like that. We got a lot of these clowns. There's Marco Alez. And unfortunately, it kind of sounds like we're going to have to familiarize ourselves with a lot of these Nazi fucks. Because as we now know, thanks to online sleuthing, a lot of these people are posting Nazi shit on their social medias routinely up until about 6 months ago. And even then, some of them continued. You know? These are the people trying to destroy our democracy. So anyway, very interesting. This is the Elon Musk Doge tracker tool that ProPublica has put together. And yeah, worth taking a look at and bookmarking, because this will be updated with additional Doge personnel as they get unmasked, okay? Oh, Yari Nidaze, not just one of these fuckwads supports Nick Fuentes. Numerous of these fuckwads support Nick Fuentes and his Nazi shit, okay? Some of them talk openly about wanting eugenics-based immigration policy. They're Nazi fucks. Or at the very least, they're willing to work alongside Nazi fucks. And to me, that makes them Nazi fucks. If you do see this, I'd like to ask your opinion on the Revolutionary Communists of America and if I should join them. No, that they're LARPy bullshitters. There you go. That is my opinion. You would be better served joining DSA. Also, just as an FYI, the Revolutionary Communists of America has largely been considered like a weird cult. Is DSA sock dems? Yes. But also they have more radical folks among their ranks as well. They're a big tent org, so there's a lot of different internal disagreements that you navigate, which you need to do anyway if you have any idea of how to do a revolution. So if you want to be able to actually do a revolution, you're going to need to deal with people who disagree with you. I guess DSA is Democratic Socialists of America, so they're not sock dems. Dem socks. A lot of socks. Anyway, slight sidetracking. That tool is really, really good for tracking who is responsible for, doing things like looting your Mima's Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security checks. So worth keeping that tool in mind. Thank you, ProPublica, as always, for your excellent reporting. Additionally, here we need to talk a little bit about the Doge situation. Again, we're sticking on that, all right? Which is that here is some good reporting from earlier today, courtesy of David Weigel. Doge protesters to Democrats do something, and this is an interesting look at kind of what's going on here. Okay, hundreds of protesters crowded below the Department of Labor's steps on Wednesday, summoned by Democrats, the AFL-CIO, and alerts they'd seen online. "It's on Constitution," said a volunteer in a purple ACLU vest, redirecting a man who was carrying his "This is a coup" sign in the wrong direction. By 3:30 p.m., the sidewalks below the stairs were full. From there, the speakers from Congress, from Labor, from the agencies being hollowed out were barely audible. "They don't want anyone who's not a white man to have a fair chance to succeed in this world," said Emily Martin, the chief program officer at the Women's Law Center. "What's the plan?" shouted one protester through a green knit balaclava. "This is a government right now, by the billionaires for the billionaires, and we will not allow it to stand," declared Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey. "Do your job," shouted another protester 20 feet from Markey's megaphone. "Go back to work." Direct actions against the new Trump administration in Washington and Democratic voting state capitals was smaller than the first protests against his first term. They impeded the work of Doge only once, a kickoff meeting between Elon Musk and the Department of Labor employees at the Francis Perkins building was moved from in-person to virtual. Obviously, the speed is surprising, AFL-CIO President Liz Schuler told Semaphore. The blatant disregard for the norms they're trampling on, things that could potentially be illegal, it's sort of like ask for forgiveness instead of permission. That is not sort of what it's like, that's exactly what it's like. Except instead of asking for forgiveness, they're going to ask for, pardons. The speed and range of Doge's actions and the gusher of leaks from affected federal workers have fueled a multi-level resistance and angst about whether any of it will work. There's little Democrats can do to slow down Republican legislation on the Hill, unless they can do to exercise oversight if the GOP doesn't agree with them. They learned that lesson again on Wednesday when members of the House Oversight Committee bungled a surprise vote to subpoena Musk over the details of his effort to restructure government agencies with semi-anonymous employees. The vote was not alerted on a group text used by committee Democrats, and not all of them made it back in time. At the moment, congressional Democrats are playing a supplementary role in the anti-Trump resistance, which is, pretty accurate and succinct summation of things. They are reacting to the reporting on Doge's work and showing up at protests. They are cheering on lawsuits filed by attorneys general and the constellation of liberal groups that plotted out a second Trump resistance after the election. On Monday, Democrats gathered outside USAID's headquarters in solidarity with suspended workers. They were cheered on by a partially masked crowd as they marched into the building. They were told to leave. By Wednesday, at rallies outside the Capitol and the Department of Labor, the cheers were mixed with interruptions and boos, especially when they mentioned the lawsuits, even though several had already halted some early Trump orders. The Democrats are just letting Donald Trump completely control what everyone's talking about, said Saikat Chakrabarti, a former chief of staff for New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who launched a challenge to the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi this week. He did not talk to Ocasio-Cortez before announcing his campaign, he said, and Ocasio-Cortez is not taking a position in the race. Oof. They're just on their back foot playing defense, Chakrabarti argued. Instead, look at what the Republicans did with something like Hunter Biden's laptop or Hillary Clinton's emails, both complete non-issues that they turned into issues. The Democrats have the advantage of having real stuff to talk about. A billionaire, Elon Musk, going in and leaking the information of every CIA employee in an email to the White House, canceling Head Start programs across the country, collecting people's social security numbers without their consent. And yeah, Democrats need to do a better job in the media with this, though it's also difficult because the media is largely complicit with kind of the disinformation being put out by the White House right now, It's so frustrating. We need them to actually have a united media campaign, and they just don't have it right now. There needs to be a great, a gigantic meeting across state and federal Dems in order to hash out a strategy, and that just hasn't happened. We need a Democratic Continental Conference, To be fair, Democrats have been running around screaming about the potential risk to CIA operations from Doge employees' access to and use of classified information. And every out-of-power party irritates its activist base when they can't dramatically impede the work of a new administration. Republicans were initially slow to embrace the Tea Party movement, organized by libertarian groups and conservative activists in 2009. Democrats were furious that key senators and even party leaders provided key support for the early Bush agenda in 2001. The two basic problems for the congressional opposition are that the real power to slow Musk down resides in the courts, and that the atomized media environment makes it hard for even a news junkie to follow what they're doing. Which I can tell you, as somebody who needs to be on top of what is happening to do my job, I can tell you it is really hard to figure out what the fuck is going on every single day in order to have like an ability to explain it to you folks. And I hope that I'm doing a decent job at that, but it's difficult as shit. At one point at Wednesday's labor rally, a union organizer pointed out across the block at the Court of Appeals for the DC Circuit, informing protesters that all their complaints were being filed there. But this didn't mollify protesters, a mix of federal employees and local liberals who supported the cause, from demanding that Democrats walk in the other direction to the Capitol and do something. That's kind of the thing, right? Like, a lot of people want Democrats to do something, but also we need to figure out what we want them to do. You know, like, they are our tools, right? We need to figure out what we want them to do. And part of it is they're kind of limited by their position in Congress. So we need to figure out something that they can do outside of those limitations, you know? Outside of like delaying, like we should be insisting that they delay every single nomination by the full 30 hours that they can. A lot of them are indeed tools, true. But also I think we can demand that they put themselves on the line and get arrested. They're going to be treated with kid gloves. They're going to be out immediately, you know? But we should maybe be forcing that issue. They need to be obstructionist at every opportunity and be loud about it. Yep. Musk's emergence as a high-powered Trump Inc. CEO is popular with Republicans. They're very comfortable defending the work of young programmers, young like the founding fathers, and an unelected billionaire disruptor. They've been saying unelected bureaucrat before these protesters were born, over the output of senior federal employees. And they're having fun with the sound and images of Social Security-age Democrats doing Mario Savio impressions outside brutalist federal buildings. What Democrats can't say, and probably shouldn't because it sounds ghoulish, is that the public might not care about this unless something terrible happens. Something that wouldn't if the workers were inside the buildings and not holding signs and bullhorns outside. And yeah. One of the deep worries I have is that there is a distinct possibility that a lot of Americans aren't going to pay attention or understand what any of this means unless like the country starts falling apart, you know, like unless like that payment system breaks and like Mima doesn't get her social security check, unless like that, you know, like air traffic control completely fails on like a federal level, like there's a decent chance that a lot of people, even like a lot of Republicans especially, are just going to be like, yeah, we need to get rid of it. This is just trimming the fat. It's totally normal to fire 35,000 employees from a vital federal agency. And I'm sure it can still do the job because of, you know, all the government fat I've been told by Fox News that exists over the past 30 years. You know? And it is quite possible that a lot of Americans are so insulated in their bubble of propaganda that, like, they aren't going to understand this as an issue until it starts hurting them. And by then, the damage is too far progressed to actually stop it. As we learned last year, all people care about are grocery prices. I mean, yeah, but also it'll take a while for them to realize that Donald Trump is making those prices worse, not better, you know? Yeah, the jobs report is not, yeah. The economy is bad. One of the things I was going to bring up earlier is the inflation rate. A lot of what has been done so far has the projected inflation rate on par with what it was like a year and a half ago for this year. Remember during the time when everyone was like, Joe Biden, the rampant inflation, it's out of control. Well, it's projected to be that high again for this coming year because of all of the shit around the economy that is currently going down. And if, you know, shit actually hits the fan, it's going to be a lot worse, you know? So, Had to tell my mom that we're not average. The average American does not watch the evening news. People aren't politically or politically or civically educated. It's true. And, like, even if you watch the evening news every day, you're still not fully up to snuff on, like, what is happening, or, like, you still don't get the context of why things are happening. Like, I can very easily sit here and talk for, like, 3 hours about one given issue, and, like, I still feel like I'm not giving enough context, Inflation was up in 2022, yes. But the issue is Joe Biden's policies brought that inflation back down. And now, because of Trump's actions this year, the projected inflation goes back up to what it was in 2022. The different economic analyses that are coming out are grim as shit. And also, let's be real here, a lot of normal people who do not pay attention to politics still think of Elon Musk as Tony Stark. So, yeah, it is possible that Dave Weigel is completely correct, and bad things need to happen before people realize the absolute evil that has been unleashed upon them, Sucks. Room for disagreement. In his Substack, Ken Klippenstein compared the Democrats' legal fight against Doge to the investigations of Russian influence in the 2016 election, i.e. a political dead end. Instead of making a plain-spoken case to the public about how Doge could negatively affect their daily lives, Democratic leaders conducted AstroTurf demonstrations in front of USAID, Treasury, and other government shrines, he wrote. They adopted the conspiratorial tone of the MAGA opposition to the Democrats that they've been so contemptuous of in the past. And, normally I like Ken Klippenstein, but honestly, I do think that, like, one of the things every single one of these people needed to do was to pull an AOC, get on, like, their own personal Instagram feeds, and stream to their constituents, like, hey, this is what's happening. This is why it's happening. This is who is doing it. And this is how it's going to affect you. And I do think that you can both do that and also attend demonstrations. That's the thing. You can pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time. But the marching orders needed to go down and still need to go down. That every single one of these people need to be communicating with their constituents via social media, via every avenue available to them. Get on your TikTok, get on your Instagram Live, get on all your things, and let people know what is happening, why it's happening, who is behind it, and what will happen to them should folks like Musk succeed. No, it's okay, Lady Raincloud. You got to take care of yourself first before you can help others. It's all good. You get some rest, friend.
Money.
Very knifey duck. Thank you for the $5 dono. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah. As for Republicans, the Trump White House and House GOP leadership has dusted off an old playbook, highlighting the most intense rhetoric from the protests and suggesting that Democrats want a violent insurrection. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver says we are at war, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in the Brady Room on Wednesday. Ilhan Omar says we might actually see somebody get killed. And Chris Van Hollen says we have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets. So what now? May I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there'd be a lot more outrage in this room today. Omar did not suggest that someone would be killed in anti-Doge protests. In an MSNBC interview, she worried that an American who works for the U.S. government could be killed abroad because a USAID app used in emergencies was shut down. Wow. They even lie about this. It's always lies. Every single fucking thing they say is lies. It's kind of crazy. You know? Also, just as a heads up, folks, this is coming from Mark Joseph Stern over at Slate, I believe. Pam Bondi's Justice Department looks poised to prosecute blue state doctors who mail abortion pills into red states, probably under the Comstock Act. She's also very likely to restrict access to medication abortion within blue states by declaring that all mailing of abortion pills is unlawful. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. So much for the we're not going to do it. We're not going to do a national abortion ban. It's all lies. They are not capable of saying true things. Ugh. Hey, Friar Tuck. Yeah, sorry, you're blue. I did not get a confirmation on the address. So, sorry, I can't help you there. I'm not aware of the details of that protest. One thing that has come out, and who knows if this will amount to anything. Trump's FBI pick, Kash Patel, took up to $5 million in stock from Chinese e-commerce giant Shein. So, who knows what the fuck that means? The parent company of Shein gave him $5 million in stock. And he said in his financial disclosure form that it was done for his consulting services. His valuable $5 million valuable consulting services. Sure, bud.
Stop getting me out of bed. Is there a list of people who want Plan B pills mailed to them? Amazon is still selling them, so I am happy to foot the bill and send some to people.
Well, One-Eyed Heathen, thank you for the $10 super chat. And also, I do not and would not keep a list of folks who need that, but I'm sure folks can figure out something. We do have a mutual aid section of the Discord for folks who need financial help. So definitely check that out in case people are looking for that. But that is an incredibly great offer. It might be dangerous to hold such a list, though, just as a point to consider. What's wild is a large portion of the population just forgot how bad Trump is, didn't vote for or voted for Trump, and are now flipping out. Yeah, but unfortunately, not enough people are flipping out. That's just facts. Yeah. God. And this is a disturbing story. And I'm just giving you guys a cursory overview of a lot of these things. So this is an official letter from Edward R. Martin Jr., United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. And basically, it is let me put it this way. This is to Mr. Elon Musk and Mr. Steve Davies of Doge. Dear Steve and Elon, thank you for the referral of individuals and networks who appear to be stealing government property and or threatening government employees. After your referral, as is my practice, I will begin an inquiry. Please let me reiterate again. If people are discovered to have broken the law or even acted simply unethically, we will investigate them and we will chase them to the end of the earth to hold them accountable. We will not rest or cease in this. No one should abuse American taxpayer dollars. And I need you all to understand, when I read this earlier today, I almost fucking died of irony. Nor American taxpayer workers. No one is above the law. And I just want to point out here, just because I'm an English major, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but this letter writes no one as one word. I have a degree in English literature. No one is two words. We're being cucked by fucking illiterate jags, man. God damn it. No one is above the law. I am proud that we have been able to assist local law enforcement in protecting the Doge workers and others over the past week or so. A safe DC is a priority for President Trump and all of us. Please keep in touch and continue to refer matters to me as soon as possible. All the best, Edward R. Martin Jr. And folks, in case you need this translated for you, that is the lawyer for the District of Columbia saying to Elon Musk, thank you for referring a bunch of people for prosecution. We'll get right on that, sir. So we have an unelected bureaucrat here referring just people he doesn't like for prosecution to the US government. It's fucked up. Like, we are in bad times here, folks. It is a witch hunt for anyone critical of Doge. I very much look forward to the Legal Eagle video on all of this because, oh man, they're going to have all lawyers on deck for that one.